Hello, so this is another reading from my book Pieces, 52 short stories about being human. Today's chapter 24, it's about expectations. I love this chapter. I loved writing it, and I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. And yeah, let's just read you an excerpt and see what you think, and then we'll have a chat. Funny things, expectations. When I was about 19 years old, I read in a clever book that expectations destroy relationships. It took me almost 20 years before I came to truly understand what that means. I have a troubled relationship with expectations. I feel they have a vital role to play in my life. I expect not to get physically attacked, for example, and there are laws and procedures in place to help me avoid that or deal with the perpetrator after. If I did not have the expectation of safety, I would not feel empowered to prevent or report such occurrence, as it's still seen nowadays in some places. I would just accept it as a norm, a part of life, and move on in fear and traumatized, but moving on nevertheless. I expect that my values and boundaries will be respected, and surely that is a good thing. I expect to get paid for my work, and my clients expect service for their money. Surely this is an important social dynamic, as there are many others that keep us all coexisting peacefully most of the time. Yet when it comes to relationships, whether we're talking romantic, familial, or close friendships, expectation seems to ruin everything. Let's examine how the expectations of others feel to us first. Maybe your parents expected you to have certain grades, or go to uni, or choose a specific career. How did that make you feel? I'd feel not good enough, not lovable, especially if I failed to meet those expectations. After all, my parents' love seemed conditional. It must be deserved. Perhaps it is my partner that expects me to be certain ways, say or do certain things, that if not met, his or her love will be withdrawn. Maybe the expectations are my own. Plug in some goals and standards out of thin air or copying of other people. I might set myself up to fail before I even started, proving to myself that truly I'm not good enough. Now, what good does that do for me? Flipping it around is not much better. My parents should have been better and loved me more. My ex-partners should have been better and loved me more. And something tells me that unless I change my ways now, I'll feel the same way about my children. So that goes on. Obviously the chapter actually is one of the longer ones, because I had a lot to say about that subject, and I think it's better if you read it, because I was quite inspired writing it, and I think it's one of my better pieces of work. And I'm not sure if I can achieve such coherence now. But basically for me, there needs to be a balance. Some expectations are important and necessary. You have the right to expect your boundaries to be respected. And of course, people also, on the other hand, have right to their boundaries to be respected by yourself. And I think this kind of helps with the kind of, helps humanity to survive, really, and the society to function. I think is important. But when it comes to kind of close relationship, whether it's within a family, friends, or romantic relationships, expectations, especially when they're quite unrealistic, can cause lots of damage, because we tend to kind of come up with these expectations, we create them, come up with them from very strange places, like, from watching movies, for example. We expect certain behaviors because perhaps we've watched too many Disney movies, or, too many romantic comedies. And that's even go for like friendships, and you kind of expect things to work certain way and follow certain pattern, which of course it's illogical because everyone's an individual, every path is individual, life's quite random in many ways. So anything can happen, and I think when you're too stuck on your expectations, you often end up disappointed with life and with people, but also you might miss some really amazing moments, lots of joy, because the unexpected can actually be quite amazing. And look at my life, look at this. That was unexpected. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. My little baby is just everything is upside down, everything turned around, and no part of my life left untouched. But I would not have it any other way. It's absolutely amazing, and I truly love every minute of it, and I wouldn't have it any other way at all. Yet if I followed my expectations of life, this would have never happened. So that's what I mean, it's about finding balance, and it's not easy because we are biologically set to have expectations. So it takes quite a bit of awareness to figure out also kind of which expectations are kind of reasonable, which are there to protect our boundaries, which are about respect, and which are those that we kind of, as I said in the book, like plucked out of thin air, pulled, copied of other people, that of society. We think we should be expecting that, but it might not be actually congruent with who we are and what we truly want in life. So have a read of the chapter, and let me know what you think, and what are your takes on expectations, and how do you feel they affect your life positively or negatively. I always try to say that I try to have no expectation. I don't always succeed, but lots of the times I do. But I find that if I have little or no expectations, there is much less disappointment in life and more pleasant surprises. Because if you kind of don't expect anything, you don't have any preconceived ideas what's gonna happen. So if you have positive preconceived ideas and it doesn't happen as you thought, you're gonna end up disappointed. If you kind of go for the worst case scenario and your expectations of it's gonna be really bad, then you probably cause yourself anxiety and possibly even depression, which is something I used to do. And I thought I was winning there. But actually, even the expecting the worst, hoping for the best, although it sounds good and reasonable, it can, as I said, cause you anxiety and depression. So no expectations. It's much more difficult to do, but much more beneficial. But again, when I say no expectations, I mean really of interpersonal relationship, as opposed to and also kind of only certain aspects of it, because you absolutely should expect not to be attacked in the street, or touched inappropriately against your will, or have your things taken away from you, stolen, or all these things. You have every right to expect that those boundaries of yours will be respected within a society, and I'm sure that you respect those boundaries of other people too. But when it comes more, to, oh, he should have cooked a dinner for me, or she should have told me what she was thinking instead of expecting me to guess, and he should have asked me what I was thinking, and all these kind of should. So whenever you hear yourself saying he, she, should, catch yourself and ask yourself, is that really true? And there's actually a really good book on that by Byron Katie called Loving What Is, and she's got this really simple system of asking a few questions and kind of challenging your ideas of what should be, which is a good start. It's not kind of like end to all expectations, but it can really, when you're in doubt whether your expectation is reasonable, that's quite a good way of challenging it and finding out. All right, so have a read of my chapter, let me know what you think of it, and speak next week.